Hey Lily, I'm going to do a review for you on ACE. On the left is your lope through at the end of the lesson. On the right is circles and true turns at a trot. This is your second lesson with me and already a huge improvement on your second barrel. And I think the drills we're doing and the spots I have you looking and writing to is really helping with the anticipation you guys were suffering from. And also, I love how you're writing more with your eyes, body, and legs, and your hands are getting a lot lighter. So, because he's a lefty and he's a big horse, there's not a whole lot of room to get started. From the alleyway, my arena's set up better for righties and lefties. You can either go straight and if they take the lead, great. If not, they usually will swap on an open horse when they get to their arc. But what you did was fine. You went close to the fence, got him on the left lead, and then what you want to do is make sure when you take off from the fence, you're lined up with third barrel. And you did a pretty good with that. My arena is small, so you're just a slight over, but that's not a problem. You know, you could have been about, oops, let me draw that better. You could have been like right there to there. So we're talking only a couple of feet. Overall, though, it looks really good. So let me put this in slow motion and zoom in. So I like that you're at this point coming in from your arc to your spot one. At this point, you're still two hands. And at this point, you still want to be looking between his ears in the hole. So you should be looking at least 3 feet to the side of the barrel and 3 feet past, because that is your job to get him in here between spot 1 and 2. That's called in the hole right here. And that you did a good job with that. So he rates 1, you go to the horn, he rates 2. Now he starts his turn really pretty, about 4 to 5 feet, spot 1 to 2. And then you sit back on your inside hip. You went back to 2 hands early, which is fine. And then you see him really push off with his pivot foot on your second stride out. And then I have you looking at the cone on the fence so that you'll ride past the barrel and giving him at least going to the straighter, longer cone, which is 4 feet to the side of the barrel. And that's where you should be looking, between his ears, and at least with him, you were only giving him like 2 or 3 feet. I would like you to start thinking 4 or 5, and that cone is 4 feet to the side of the barrel. You ended up doing 5 or 6, which is fine. He swaps his lead. He rates 1 about 5, and then I think there's his rate 2, and then here's his first stride around the barrel. You go to the horn, and then here it will be your second stride around the barrel, and he comes out really nice and tight. I thought it was a really pretty turn. When we studied your tracks after, it ended up being maybe what you could have done. You did about 5 feet and about 3 feet. So what I'd like to see is maybe go 4 and 4. So instead of the 5 and the 3, do the 4 and the 4. But anything from the 4 to 5 going in and on the back gives you a nice fluid turn. This is a big horse with a big stride. 3 is a little tight right now for him with the anticipation, because it makes him want to turn at his shoulder. So by riding and thinking and riding at least 4 feet to the side and 4 feet past is really important for you guys right now. So there's the rate 1, rate 2, first stride around the barrel, spot 1 to 2. Your hands are low and flat knuckle, and you're at the horn, spot 1 to 2. And then you just look up and sit back, and he wraps it, pivots out perfect at spot 3 on the exit. And then you pull up on the horn, get back to 2 hands. And I told you to look between his ears at the straighter, longer cone, which is 4 feet to the side of the barrel and past it. And then you did that good. And then here you made a little contact on the rein for rate. And I like to talk to my horses. As I get closer, I'll say whoa or here or hey. And then, I usually say whoa or hey for rate, and then I'll say here for turn. So you can see we've been working on straighter, longer. It worked great. He rates 1. He rates 2 in your legs at the barrel. And then you look around. He's got about 4 or 5 feet, 1 stride there, and then sets his pivot foot, 2 strides there. And your hands are super soft and light. You looked really good at your quarter turn. So right now, you should be looking straight. Okay, so don't look in too soon. Look straight until you're almost to the barrel. Then look at the backside, and then talk to him and say hey or here. And then look at the backside, and then look at the exit, and then look up. And then that inside hip and look up. He'll finish that turn from just your shoulder, hip, and eyes. And if you needed outside leg, you could. And he finished that barrel really pretty. And then I just had you slow down and pet him. So you did a really good job with that. and he's a good boy. So now we'll go ahead and watch your circles and true turns. So what I have you working on this one is 2 perfect 5-foot circles, and you go from a post trot to a 10 to 12 foot arc to a 5-foot circle 2 times around, and then on the final one you pivot out tight with your inside hip. So here you should shape him at spot 1, the entrance. So his nose is in, his shoulder and ribs are out, and his front and back feet stay on the same track. And then shape him again when your leg gets here on the back side, spot 2. And then shape him again here at spot 3, which is the exit. And then shape him again here on the front side, which would be spot 4. So think of a full circle as 4 spots. Entrance, spot 1 shape, spot 2 shape. And then to snap out here, this is when you use more inside hip and take your inside leg off. Put your outside leg on if you need it. And then he'll move over nicely here. And then you post trot again. Post trot across. Sit before the barrel, which you did beautifully. And then start using your inside leg. At this point, the cone is 4 feet to the side of the barrel. So you should be 5 feet. So just 1 foot further out of the cone for 2 perfect circles. And see how he likes to get a little stiff sometimes? By doing more inside hand and leg, where you go shape and then driving forward, because we want 4-wheel drive, but we want collection and we want lateral bend. So every quarter turn you'll bend and then you'll release. So like at spot 1 you shape and then you let him go forward. Spot 2 you shape and then you let him go forward. Spot 3 you shape, and you shape with your inside hand, inside leg. And your inside hand can either just be a pinky twist under or bring your hand up and back an inch, but it's mainly your inside leg and foot by his front cinch with your inside hand softer. So whisper with your hands, talk with your legs. And if he ignores you, really get him with that inside leg. So post, sit, and then make sure he rates onto his butt. But see how he's not trying to cut you off, and he's respecting, whoops, right there, he stiffened a little. He's respecting the 5-foot circle. So that's good. But see how he has a little lateral bend there, but then watch him brace a little there. So, and then he braced a lot there. So be quick with your bumps, inside hand, inside leg, shape, release, shape, release, shape, release, shape, release. And then inside hip, outside leg to leave straight. I had you do an extra one on this one because he was being a little stiff right there. And then he softened. And then that one, see, he was much more respectful. He let you get his nose in and keep his shoulder and ribs soft and keep his front and back feet on the same tracks. That's going to keep his pivot foot reaching under him. See how when he keeps his ribs soft from your inside leg, he can reach deeper with his pivot foot. And that's what you're looking for. So I think you did a great job. It was a good lesson. We did rail work of face flexing and 2 tracking. We did post trotting and sit jogging. We also did the single barrel. And then we did circles and true turns and straighter longer on the barrels. So great job. Good lesson. Let me know when you want to come back again. And you're a member of the group for a year, so you can send 1 video a week or 4 per month for reviews like this. Thank you so much.